He's the lovable cop in Mike and Molly, and currently in Sun Records, and Colonel Tom Parker, the infamous manager of Elvis Presley.
Kind of two different roles there.
Yeah,
but
very
before
different.
that, before he was that guy that everybody loves on TV, Billy Gardell was a comic, and that certainly hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't. He's back on the stage as we get the funny bone. Good to see you, Billy.
Well, hello. Thank you
Thanks for
guys
stopping
for
in,
having me.
Bob.
I
Yeah.
certainly appreciate it. Good morning, Omaha.
Well, you've been to Omaha before, though.
I have. I used to come here and work the Funny Bone here, and it was one of the great stops when I was coming up. And I'm working on my new hour of material, and you got to get back into the clubs. So this is a stop that was on my list. So.
Why do you guys seem to love Omaha so much? Is it just Colleen, or?
Well, Colleen's a big part of it. She runs the club, and she always treated the comics great coming up, and you don't forget those people. You know, that's the week you would get on the road, and you'd be like, all right, I can hang in there another month.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I mean?
Okay, yeah.
And so, and I think there's a good Midwest vibe here. My humor's Midwestern, so you want to test that in the right area so that you make sure you're staying true to your voice.
Things have changed for you a little bit since you probably last
Yeah, a
came to
little
Omaha,
bit,
right?
a little bit.
Mike and Molly, would you consider that your breakout? Or
Without a question.
I mean,
that was the
2010.
biggest thing I ever did in my life. It changed everything, and it put me on the map, and very grateful for it. And then, you know, I got to do a dramatic turn this summer with Sun Records, which was incredible. I worked with these amazing people you see on this show every week.
Mike and
Melissa
Molly.
McCarthy,
Melissa
who's
McCarthy.
just wonderful.
What was she like working with? I mean,
Fantastic, man. Peoria, Illinois girl, down to earth, kind. And when her star took off through the movies, still just the same sweet girl every day I got to work with.
keep in touch with her?
Oh yeah, we all talked, the whole cast. We weren't crazy. None of our cast went crazy. And I think it's because everybody was over 40 when we hit.
Right.
We'd all been kicked around enough that it was like, you know, we got good jobs now. We got free coffee. We got parking.
Right.
You weren't all like
Cool.
hitting the
just keep
clubs
it,
together every night,
We're all
ruining
old.
your
We got
success.
kids, so it was lovely. It was a really lovely vibe, and we still talk to each other and root for each other, let each other know what's going on in each other's lives.
I was listening to you on Todd and Tyler a little bit. You touched on this, but watching
guys.
Melissa do Sean Spicer.
The best.
Isn't that incredible?
She's incredible.
And-
And she has something. The special thing about Melissa is you don't know what's going to come next. And then when it does, you're like, wow, how did she figure that out? You know, she's just great. She's great to watch.
Did you sneak in and have you seen her do this?
No, I hadn't seen this until it was on TV like everybody else, but I happened to be touring in New York, and she was filming up there, and I snuck onto the set to see her, and I just told her how much I loved it, and I thought how great it was, because that guy's a cartoon as it is.
Yeah.
So to watch her just nail it is just brilliant.
He's a caricature of himself. It's just hilarious. I mean, it's just such easy comedy material.
She gets those nuances.
Do you get into politics at all?
I do. Yeah, of course. I think everybody has an opinion, you know, and I think I'm a guy that has always voted for what I thought was best. That didn't really work out for me this time, but, you know, we all have our opinions. I think everybody's entitled to them.
Now, it was kind of a different role for you. You've been acting. You've been all over the place. If you look at your IMDb page, it seems like you're always playing guys named Billy.
I am.
Except for Mike and Molly, actually.
I used to joke that I was too dumb to answer to anything else. So maybe that's why they put that in there.
Just
I don't
keep it
know.
Billy,
It just
yeah.
kind of came up like, I guess I look like a Billy.
But how do you like the difference between doing the stand-up and then the acting roles? Because you've done
Well-
the sitcom stuff, but you've done some more dramatic stuff, and this Sun Records role is certainly not Mike Biggs.
No, it was fun to play a guy, because Mike was a guy with a compass who always did the right thing, always did the kind thing, whereas the Colonel would lie when the truth worked. So it was fun to make that turn to this guy that had no moral compass, and it was fun to do that. But stand-up is my first love, always has been, always will be.
Yeah. So how are you doing stand-up? So you're touring around the country right now because
Right.
you got the 1 hour special you're trying to put together. Is that how you refined
Well,
your special?
I usually play clubs and casinos, or theaters and casinos because of the success of Mike and Molly, but I've taken some club work because you can really work as a comic. There's a closeness there, an intimacy that you don't really get in the theater, and you can really find out what's funny or not, because you're right there
you're
with
right
them.
there, yeah.
So I enjoy working the clubs, and what I do is I put on a very good show, and then I try some new stuff at the end, and we see if it works or not, and everybody goes home happy, hopefully.
Now, Pittsburgh guy,
Yeah.
17 years old,
Yes.
working in a warehouse.
Yes.
Is this a true story?
That is a true story, but I was in Florida because my parents had
Okay.
divorced, so I was just finishing high school down in Florida, and I was working in a warehouse, and I told the guys I was going to be a stand-up comic, and they said, no, you're not. And I said, yeah, I am, and we made a bet, and they bet me $50 each, and I did an open mic night to win the bet, and I had to do the open mic night because I couldn't have covered the bet if I didn't. So
Right. How did the open
Kinda owe those
mic night go? How'd it go?
the first open mic night I did great for like 5 minutes. I did really great, and then I just sucked for like 2 years. But it was enough on that first one to keep me interested.
That's where you cut your teeth. That's
Exactly.
where you learn the hard aspects of the business.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
You were talking about, with Mike before the commercial break, cops coming to see your show. Now,
Yeah.
what kind of humor can people expect if they come out to your
Well,
shows at the Funny Bone, aside from seeing a lot of cops in the audience?
No, there won't be a lot of cops. There'll be a couple, but they've been very kind with us because of the, we played cops on TV, and they'll come out and give us a patch, or we've been on a couple ride-alongs with them. But my humor is based in Pittsburgh, working class, which is why it does very well in the Midwest, and the show kind of crosses over very easily for me. You're not going to see something a lot different than what you saw on TV. You'll just see my version of it. And I think working class humor comes from not taking yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I go at it.
Yeah, and well, you're a family guy.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
You got a 13-year-old son?
13. You guys did your research,
how's the
man. How about
teenage
that?
years going for you?
He's great, man, which blows me away, which means I married well. That's what that means. Because, my son is a really great kid, and we'll get phone calls and they're like, can Will stay longer?
Yeah.
And when I was that age, they were like, you need to come get him out of this house right now. So I'm proud of the person he's become. He's a good kid. I don't have a terrible teenager.
That's good. Is it tough traveling, though? I mean, when you're doing the
No,
on the
because
road?
these days, in the old days, you would go for a week and be at a club for a week. Nowadays, I fly in, I do a show, I fly back. Unless it's a week where I'm working on stuff, like I take the clubs, and you pick the clubs that were good to you, and you come back and you work on the new stuff, and you take it back up to the top levels.
Yeah, you talk about his Pittsburgh ties. You're a Steelers fan.
Hardcore.
I know Tyler over in Todd.
That's how
and I'm a
they have
Steelers
to
fan
keep,
too.
they have to keep
Major
us together
bonding.
because we just start, and they got guys, we got to go back to the show.
Yeah.
We're like, we need to get in the secondary. I'll tell you what we need.
You started talking
Let's
football.
get back to the
Right.
story. Yeah, exactly.
What's next for you from an acting standpoint? Are
Well-
you interested in getting into that again, or are you just
Oh,
strictly...
God, yes. No, I enjoyed the dramatic stuff on Sun Records. I think I'd like to try my hand at another sitcom if the right thing comes along.
Right.
I want to make sure, because Mike and Molly was so good.
Yeah.
There's going to be a comparison there, so I want it to be something good. And I think I'd like to try playing a dad. I think it'd be fun to play a dad, because that's my favorite thing to do
And
anyway.
you've got some experience
Exactly.
doing it as well.
Exactly. It's going to be in my wheelhouse.
Well, Billy, it's great to meet you.
Thank you, guys.
And
Thanks for
Billy's going to be
having
at the
me.
Funny Bone
Come
tonight
see
and
us.
tomorrow. Tonight at 7:30. Tomorrow 7 o'clock and 9:30. So 3 shows. It's limited. Colleen, still tickets left? There are a few tickets left. So call 493-8036. That's the Bone phone. FunnyBoneOmaha.com.
You're going tonight?
I'll be there tonight.
You need
yeah.
to get a sitter.
They're coming.
Your
You get a sitter.
13-year-old,
Yeah, you get a
if he's here in town and he
He's
could
a good-
babysit,
he's a
because
good
I've
enough
got
kid. You
boys.
could trust him.
Oh, I love
Exactly.
that. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you guys
Yeah,
for
good luck
your
this
time.
weekend.
Absolutely.
Nice to
All right,
meet ya.
new to score, new bike helmet.